Hey everybody, welcome back to the studio. As you can see today, I have a nice little pretty bouquet of flowers because it is almost Valentine's Day, and I thought for my Inspire this week, we would just do a fun little Valentine's Day bouquet card for you to give to someone special that you love. So, all I'm using is watercolors, watercolor paper, and let's get going. All right, let's talk about supplies for today. Make sure you have a piece of watercolor paper and a waterproof pen, waterproof ink, because the first pass, actually when I drew it, I used not a waterproof ink pen, and at first I tested it and I just did like a little bit of water on it and it seemed fine, but once I had like a whole drawing and then painted on it, it bled. So make sure, I always use Sharpie just because I know for sure their ink is waterproof. And then paint palette of watercolors, and I used two brushes today. One was a size 14 round brush, and then I have a smaller round brush, and this has been like all taken off from just washing it. So I think it's a size 2 or 4, just a small and a large brush. That's it for today. Okay, for our Valentine's Day card, we are going to start off with some messy flowers on here. So I'm going to start by drawing a little fun kind of irregular circle, followed by another one. Notice that this one is going to touch on this side, followed by another one, and then I'm going to scribble in the middle of that one. So it's going to be the center of our flower. And this first one that we're doing is going to be a rose flower. So now I'm gonna bring this one in. I'm kind of always starting right here on this spot where we kind of colored in. And then I'm gonna bring another one kind of around right there. And all I'm gonna do is just keep building this up and around. Now I'm gonna go back in and add some hatching lines, and I'm just following the shape around with these lines. Do some right here. The fun part about this is we want it to be messy and scribbly, and so I'm trying to not spend a ton of time. Okay, we've got our first flower done, and now I'm gonna do another flower next to it. And I don't know the names of these flowers, but it is, I'll pull it out to show you. I should know the names of these flowers, but this kind of a flower next that we're gonna do. And if we look at it real fast, the center of it has these like zigzag lines, and so that's kind of what I'm gonna start off with over here. I'll kind of have it on here so you guys can see. Again, I'm gonna come back in and fill in some of these spots darker. So the difference between a rose and this kind of flower is this flower has multiple kind of centers to it almost. So, and when I say these center spots, I'm talking about these really nice dark spots where it's getting so close, the petals together, that you're pretty much seeing black. And so this has a few of them, which is why I'm doing a few different spots on this flower with those nice dark black scribbles, versus over on our rose we just have that one that everything else kind of stems off from. I'm gonna add a few more scribbles over here too, just to kind of darken that up. Also, where the center is, where you have all those blacks, is where you have the most lines from your flower. So that's why I'm coming back in and adding more lines in here. And then as it gets further out, the petals kind of spread and get further away from each other. So we don't need them quite so close. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is add some leaves over here. Okay. Then there's this other part on our flowers that there's like these little yellow balls, and so I'm just gonna kind of do tiny circles. It's all that fun kind of stuff they put in the bouquet to fill it up, so they don't have to put as many expensive flowers in there. It's the cheaper little stuff. Okay. And then I'm gonna put another flower up here. So I'm making a circle with a zigzag line, kind of like ovalish. Okay, right now I'm just gonna keep repeating this process of these flowers so that I can get a nice bouquet. Okay, so I just went ahead and made sure to darken a few spots so that your eye kind of is drawn throughout this circular pattern. And so right here I kind of darkened, and here I darkened, up in here, over here, here, just so that your eye moves around the piece instead of just like, if you only have 1 or 2 dark spots, that's where your eye is just gonna automatically go. Okay, let's get ready to paint this. Okay, so for your flowers, you can choose whatever color you want. I'm gonna kind of do like a blushy color for the roses. So I'm gonna add red and yellow together to get a blush color. Yeah, that's kind of a nice fun color. I'm gonna come back and rinse off my brush, dab it, and then just come back and grab some of this color off. It gives it some nice definition. Especially on those outer petals that are further away from the center, should definitely be a little bit lighter. We'll come back and add some darker layers on top too, and I'm gonna do a little bit more darker even on the center right now. And right now I'm using a size 14 round brush. Okay, now I'm gonna come and do some of this like little foliage. So I'm gonna grab a green. And I actually turned it more into like a tannish color. And I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna rinse off my brush, dab it, and then just come back and pull some of this color off. And by doing that, you're already creating two values with just using one color, because as you're pulling some off, you're getting now a darker value and a lighter value, which helps give whatever it is you're painting more dimension. The more values you can create, which is your darkest to your lightest, the more realistic your painting's gonna look, the more depth it's gonna have, all that good stuff. So the color palette I am kind of going for with this is a little bit more muted. And so for my green, instead of having like a really bright green, I muted it with using green's complementary color, which is red. And so it's kind of giving me a nice little, muted down green. Grabbing like a nice little gold yellow for those little dots that I have. Okay, so I'm done using my bigger brush, and I'm gonna come to my smaller brush. I think this has all gotten rubbed off in here, but I think it's a size 4, I wanna say. Size 4 or 2. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come back now and I'm gonna add darker value on the flowers so that it has some nice contrast. So I'm mixing up whatever colors you had for your flowers, kind of mix that up again. I'm gonna come and, especially on the spots that we did the cross hatching and the center of our flowers, gonna add this darker value on here. Come back, take the paint off my brush, and then just lightly kind of blend that in. Okay, last thing I'm gonna do is mix up kind of like a black, and so I'm gonna use some green, some blue, some red. And I'm just gonna kind of tap that nice dark black in the center kind of these flowers where we had those nice dark spots. Adding just a little bit also on those spots where we have the cross hatching. Okay, and I think I'm gonna call that done for today. All right, I forgot one last thing, and that is our Valentine's message on here, right? So you can write whatever you'd like next to your beautiful artwork that you're gonna give to someone special. I'm gonna write, Happy Valentine's Day, I love you. Keep it classic. All right, actually I'm just gonna keep it Happy Valentine's Day because I think that looks good, and yeah, I like how the placement is right now. I think if I add I love you, I think it's gonna get too spread out from the image, so I like where it's at. All right, I hope you guys had fun painting this with me. Trying to do thanks everybody. Thanks everybody for following along in today's video. I hope you enjoyed doing these fun, messy bouquet flowers with me that you can give to someone special this Valentine's Day. And if you liked it, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe. It really means a lot to me, and I appreciate your guys' support, and I will see you next week.